Start. Oh, there you go. All right. Hey there, everybody. How y'all doing? Thank y'all for joining me again for another round of around 30 minutes. And today I have a very special guest, one of the sexiest men alive. I got Mr. Myke Kingcade from the Blackout and Shout, and dude, you do. Let's say you do reviews, you do photography, you play in a band, you play softball. Dude, what else what do you not do?
I don't know. I just try to get into anything, man. I just like doing new things that I never tried before. So
that's what painters say all the time too. They try to get something new all the time.
yeah. I don't know. You know what? I pick up at different stages of my life. I just picked up different things, and I kind of stuck with all of them. You know, I was always into art growing up, and when I went back to school, I got introduced to the digital world. So I ended up with digital photography and graphics and all that kind of stuff. And I got into music, at an early age, and started playing guitar. Not until I was into my 20s and stuff, but it was just everything I try out and get into. I just kind of it's like a snowball, you know what I mean? Just keep rolling, picking up new things.
I forgot you're in a band too. I was going, you're in a band too. I was like, you own your own, you do T-shirts and stuff and all that. God dang, dude, I don't know how you keep up with that. But
stay busy.
I'm sorry, what?
I just like staying busy.
Yeah, you are a busy man. Jed's in there. He said you're gonna have to call this one around 30 seconds with Myke Kingcade. That's funny. He's a good dude. So we'll start off, and everything. I know that you said, and especially your last video, you don't collect anything else except for Transformers. So if you could collect something like another line, what would you? Because I know you got two of your whales on your thing, which they look really nice. What is there another line that you would like to collect if you could?
Well, that was a little bit. I misspoke a little bit. There's a tiny little thing outside of Transformers that I collect, but it's not as grand of a scale as Transformers. So I just kind of got started. But I collect the Mortal Kombat Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat because I was a huge Kombat fan back in the day. Me and Levy used to play. That's actually how we met. We were 18, 19 years old in the arcade and kicking the crap out of each other. And that was a game that I got all started on. So they, those a-holes, as I like to call them, got me a couple Mortal Kombat figures for my birthday 2 years ago, I think. Got me Sub-Zero and Scorpion. And as soon as I took them out of the package and held them, I'm like,
Are they good? Are they that good?
Yeah.
The Goro looks pretty good.
Yeah, they're really nice. They're really nice. I haven't gotten the Goro yet. I got all the ninjas and Shao Kahn. I'm waiting. Goro's in my stash, so I'm just waiting for a couple more items to come in. But outside of those, if I was going to collect one other thing, I would probably lean towards Turtles.
Okay.
Turtles was another, the collecting to me wasn't always not necessarily about like monetary value or the collection itself. It was more about this reminds me of my childhood, which was a fun time. And Transformers was like the first part of the childhood, and then after Transformers came the Turtles. I was into all that other stuff, He-Man and Thundercats and G.I. Joe and everything, but the ones that really hit home, Transformers obviously, and then later than that Turtles probably.
Yeah, that's the reason why I do floor time. Try to kind of bring people back to when they was a kid and it was the good times. And they wasn't really collecting. As a kid, I don't think you collected. You just got toys.
Yeah, it was different, man. We didn't see it as collecting back then. It was just our imagination running wild, pretty much.
Yeah, you had to. And that's what I said. With G1, you had to have imagination because they were bricks, basically.
Right.
So you had Optimus Prime, but he was like a little square thing. So you had to have a great imagination just to play with that stuff and everything. So, well, that's cool. All right, so I'll go and get into your. You take photos and. Once again, beautiful. You have a very unique way of doing it, and I love it. Every time I see your stuff on Facebook and anything, I get really excited. So how long have you been doing that, and how did you get into that?
The photography stuff, just a straight up, you're not talking the Photoshop stuff, you're just talking the straight up photography stuff?
Yeah, just whenever you just started taking interest into it.
Well, I started taking interest in photography in school. And the digital photography was part of the computer graphics program. So this went back around like 8 or 9 years when I went back. And I honestly took it as an afterthought just because it was part of the program. And I didn't really think I was going to like it as much as I did. But then once I kind of got into it, I found myself I was using the camera at the school.
Yeah.
I found myself wanting to get my own. And then, so I got a kind of a beater in the beginning just to try it out to see if I was going to like it. And I did. And I got a little bit of a better camera. So that was something that I didn't expect to get into as much as I did. But
yeah,
I did.
So, well, with your setup, you know, and you showed one of your recent videos, you showed what you do and how you got your setup. How did that come about? I mean, did you experiment with other stuff, or you're going to build on it, aren't you? I mean, eventually.
I think that I mean, some stuff like the lights, obviously, I got with photography in mind, but like the case and the board in the back and spray paint it and thing, like I don't make a lot of money doing what I do, so I'm a big proponent of using what you got. Finding items around the house, or and I'm not a hoarder, but sometimes I see things like the board was like, you know what, I'm going to use that for something one day, and I ended up using the photography background. So I'm really I really like to use basically the things that I can find around me, unless you need to go out and get something. But like I said in the video, you don't always need top of the line stuff to get end results.
But I take pictures with my camera. I bought something off of Amazon, one of those little photo things, whatever, for like $20-$30 or something like that. And I got some lights, and that's it. And that's where I take my pictures on. I want to go. I would like to build in, and get a nice camera and do all that stuff, but I just don't. I don't do that right now. But
it's something that you can always do it later down the line. I always like to experiment with cheap stuff just to make sure that I'm going to like it. And then it's the same thing I did when I was learning guitar. Man, I bought a beater guitar for $100 just to make sure I wasn't totally going to suck. And then once I kind of got into it and knew I was going to take it a little bit further, I went out and got a better one. So,
just as long as you're having fun. That's what I do. That's the only reason why I do. I mean, it lets me escape when I do stuff. Like I'm going to take pictures tonight and all that good stuff. So it's just something fun,
Well, that's another part of it too. I started doing the reflector files pretty much to give me an excuse to play with my stuff, because I found myself getting into those modes where I would take stuff out of the box and mess around with it for a couple of minutes, be like, hey, that looks cool, and bring it down here, put it on the shelf, and then just kind of let it sit, But with doing reflector files and stuff, it gave me an opportunity to spend an hour.
I understand that. Only good thing about moving is you get to actually touch all your stuff again.
Right.
You get to mess with it and transform it, because I got stuff that I haven't messed with since I even put them up there. So that's a good point, with the photography. So what is it that inspires you to do the way you do your photography and the way you do your reviews? Just everything that you do, what inspires you to do that?
Man, that's I don't want to call it a loaded question, but it's I don't know, man. I guess it's my thing to keep busy. Like if I have nothing lined up as far as projects go, I'll just pick something up just to do it. And since I get into a lot of different things between music and regular photos and the photoshops, and every once in a while doing this video like that, I pretty much, sometimes I'll be doing a lot of photography and I'll give up on the YouTube channel and realize that I'm doing that, and then I'll get back to doing some more videos. And so there's nothing, I can't say one thing in particular inspires me. I always like to keep moving,
Yeah. You froze up. You're still. I can hear you talking, but you froze up. So you look like you're like that. So it's cool. It's like, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I can tell that you're moving slower, but your audio is coming in all right.
Okay. Cool. Now you're back to it. Michael, I hope I say his last name right. Ricci. He bought a hat from you at TFCon. He says he loves it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, man. You know what? I think I might have said it in one of the videos, but the Transformers community has been pretty good to me as far as buying my stuff. And I know they're not just buying my stuff because they like me, they dig it, which is cool.
No, it's because they like you. It's because.
So it sucks. They just like me. We'll throw this guy a bone.
So that's a good question. How did you get into that? How did you get into the? I know because you went to school for designing and everything. So what got you to do all? Do you do all your designs, or do you have other people help you?
I think that I would like to maybe hook up with another graphic designer or two in the future, especially somebody that's into maybe different franchises than I am, because I want to really here and there. I like to branch out. I've done mostly Transformer stuff, but I've done, a G.I. Joe one here or there. I've done like a Darkness one or just some Ram stuff. And I want to kind of like round out everything and kind of branch out and get some other ideas in there. But as of right now, it's just a one-man team. much. I do all of it on my
Okay.
own. What man, I can't really say what got me into it. I think I can't remember what the first one I did might have been.
How long have you been doing it? Did you remember when you started?
Probably like 3 years ago or so.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 years.
So recent.
Yeah, and it really didn't start out as intent to do it as a business, like a little side business. It kind of, I was just doing, like, I do stuff a lot of the times like with not really with money in mind. I just like, hey, this is cool, man. I'm just gonna make this.
No, that's understandable.
And I did a few shirts for myself just to make them, and then I actually saw that the printer I was getting them through was pretty nice quality, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna throw a couple out there and see if there's any kind of response, and it's been a pretty good response, you know.
You got some good ones. I mean, the Star Twin ones I love. I love that Jaguar one with Ravage. You got
that Jed hates Jaguar. Jed hates Jaguar one. Wow. I showed him that one, and he's like, yeah, that's not good.
We need to buy him a couple then, or just give him a couple just to make him wear. You got some other ones, like the Retgar one is pretty cool. He's doing the Air Jordan.
Yeah.
I like it. You got some really good stuff. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I like buying stuff from you. So
I appreciate that.
Adrian from Australia, my buddy from Australia, he said do a garbage pail kid one.
That's an interesting idea. I know that there was I feel like there was a Devastator garbage pail, wasn't there? Or
there was a Prime one.
Was there a Prime one? I kind of sort of remember there being one, but yeah, that's always an idea.
I don't know if Devastator was, but I remember them doing a Prime. It was like a roll. He had a gun shooting out of his head or something like that, or something. I don't know. I remember there's Prime one.
People love mashups, man. People love mashups.
Yeah. So, why the Eagles?
The Eagles. I live in Bethlehem, in Fountain Hill, which is right by Bethlehem, part of Bethlehem actually, and I grew up in Allentown, which is right next to Bethlehem. So it was really, I grew up here, and when we were kids, how old are you? Are you anywhere near my age? You're 42?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're my age exactly.
I left the Redskins in '85. They were playing the Bears in the NFC Championship, and I like the Redskins colors better than their hair, so I just stuck with them since then. I'm not even nowhere even near close DC, but I've stuck with them since.
With me, it was the proximity, but more than the proximity, since they were like kind of the home team in this area, they were on all the time. The Phillies were always on, the Eagles were always on. So it was, and plus my pops was always a Philadelphia guy.
I'm sure.
It was just kind of one of those things I got through osmosis, and he used to take me to
generations. What's your grandpa? I'm sure probably was an Eagles fan too. And
my dad's dad, my mom's dad, wasn't really so much into football. He liked the Yankees though. He wasn't a Phillies fan. He was a Yankees fan. Really?
Wow.
Yeah. But my pops was always very like, this kid's going to be a Philadelphia kid, and that's the way it's going to be. So I ended up sticking with it.
Well, my dad was before he passed, he was a Cowboys fan, because we're about 5 hours away from Dallas. So there's a lot of, you were either a Dallas fan or you was a Rams fan when they were at St. Louis.
Right.
So, and then now some people are Titans fans or anything. Jed wants to know if you'll sign this video for him.
Yeah, I'll sign anything he wants to. Tell him to bring it to my table next time.
His ass. So, so you're on a podcast called Blackout and Shout. It's wonderful. Got to see all you guys and everything. So, why is it that how did Blackout and Shout come about? How did y'all get together?
Well, I think, man, it was probably out of necessity. For me, it was maybe out of necessity. I was going through kind of a dark period in my life around the point where this all started out. And so I was looking for excuses to really hang out with some of my friends and stuff. And Levy's one of my best friends, and it was just, we used to call each other, every week or so, and have these 1 hour, not 6 hour, but 1 hour conversations on the phone.
Y'all do got some long sessions.
And
I'm trying to get through the TFCon special one. I'm halfway there. So
I worked on everybody. We got it. We're slowly like getting our way down. Like we might get underneath the 3.5 hour mark at some point. But yeah, it was just one of those things. We're on the phone talking about it. It's like, dude, we should just do the same thing, but just record it as a podcast. And maybe like 3 or 4 episodes in, we pulled Jed in, and the rest is history.
Y'all pulled him off the streets.
Yeah,
that was nice. That was nice of y'all.
We felt bad for him.
So have you? Did y'all start collecting at the same time, or I mean, have y'all always collected? You and
yeah, we were always. We met. Okay, so we met around when we were like 18 or 19. So it wasn't. We weren't collecting. You know, I don't know how you do. Like I collected as a kid, like right out of the gate. You know, when I was 8 years old, when they first came out and stuff, and then, you know, I always read the comic books through high school and kind of stayed into it and stuff, but I wasn't really collecting as much at that point because my attention was going elsewhere. You know, at that point. Yeah. But then into my 20s, I kind of drifted back into it. So I never really totally got out of it. And I think Levy will probably tell you the same kind of story, you know? Yeah, so we were all into it as kids, you know, and just kind of had the lull in the action there in the late or the early 90s, I should say. We hated Beast when it came out.
I like these. It was, I mean, well, I was in high, you know, we were in high school. I didn't really, I mean, I was out of high school when Beast Wars came out. It came out in 96. I graduated in 95. So I was in the military at that time. So I mean, I saw it, you know, I watched it on, I remember it was on Fox Kids for a while, and I was watching a while, and I was like, that's cool, but I didn't get back into it till RID 2000 hit.
Yeah.
And then Armada, I walked into Walmart and I saw Armada Starscream, and I just right there, and then eBay, I found eBay, and it was the devil, just like I say all the time.
Yeah.
Ordered my first G1, which was Ultra Magnus, and just skyrocketed for that. So why? So y'all do y'all record every other 2 weeks. So what have y'all decided? Have y'all maybe decided maybe y'all might want to do it like every week, like a one? Or
we used to do it every week, but it was with, you know, like Jed has a couple kids and stuff, and he's a pretty busy dude, and I'm a pretty busy dude. So it was just it was getting to be a lot to do every week. Gotcha. So we went down to every other week. Now the only downside of doing it every other week is that we end up with those long sessions because we only get to meet every couple weeks. So that's kind of how that happened. And I think another reason it goes long sometimes is because we don't do it over like hangouts or anything. We're all kind of sitting in this room. So we kind of tend to, sometimes it goes away from podcast and more into just.
But you're hanging out. Yeah, you're there. Y'all are there in the same room doing it. Y'all are hanging out. So it's just like a you know, like a little get together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand that. I'll do it if Shattercat did that. I think it would last longer than, you know, instead of the couple of, you know, hour or two, whatever. So
yeah.
So so how is it to work with old Jed and Levy?
I never know when they're kidding or when they're serious, because I feel like they're gonna kill each other sometimes, but I don't know if that's just their online, like their podcast characters coming out, or if they're serious sometimes. And I think it's maybe like 75-25, but it's a good time. Well, because it was weird because Levy and Jed didn't know each other before all this. But now they're like an old married couple.
So they got introduced by you then, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. That's cool. And then so I bet Jed gets a little jealous. You know, he wishes he had the same relationship you did with
yeah. Well, I mean, he can if he wants to. I'm not gonna stand between the two of them.
Oh, I know. That's cool. No, that's cool. So let's see. Let's talk about that. So with all the stuff you do, how is it that you relax? Do you ever relax, and how do you do that?
No. Okay. And admittedly, that's kind of a problem. Like I wish. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Hang on a second. My screen just always keep talking until my screen comes back up. It just went on the screensaver. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of a problem. Like I would like to relax. But I always feel like when I'm relaxing, wasting time that I could actually be doing something productive. I get behind on like watching movies and watching TV series and reading comic books and staying up on stuff, which I should be doing more of because I would like to be able to hold more of these conversations and know what I'm talking about with these guys. But as soon as, you know, like I binge watching is almost impossible for me because I can't sit still for too long. So I'll get a couple episodes. And I have to get, you know, moving on something else.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Shout out to him, pretty much.
Yeah, well, you need to relax, man. You gotta enjoy stuff and everything. So So another question is, what was it? Oh, what got you? I mean, what got you interested? I mean, as far as when you said you as a kid you loved Transformers and it stuck with you. Why is that? Why do you think it stuck with you so much?
I think it was because you got more than one toy in one toy.
Oh, nicely put. Nicely
Like
put.
I remember getting my first Transformer was Skywarp. I got him from actually
Oh,
mom's boss at the time. Sent it was during Christmas and he sent it home with her. And I remember peeling the box or the wrapping paper open and seeing a jet and just thinking it was a jet. But then as I looked at the box more, I saw the robot there, and it was like it was the coolest thing because at that point I had already been into Voltron. I think didn't Voltron come out a year before?
was it 82, 83, I think? So yeah, probably about a year before. 84 was Transformers.
Yeah, so I already
it might have been earlier. I don't quote me on the 83 or 82. It might have been around that time. But
with Voltron you're talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I kind of remember being into that before Transformers. And I know I had a thing for just robots in general. I just thought robots were incredibly like, robots and dinosaurs, like that's
exactly.
What are you into as a kid? So when I found out that these things turned into robots, it was all over for me. It was all over.
Yeah, it's like oh
yeah. And to be totally honest with you, as a kid, like I was never one of the cool kids growing up. So I didn't have like a ton of friends, and Transformers and G.I. Joe and those shows that came on after school and all that, they were like that was the constant,
Oh yeah. No, I understand that completely. After school, I remember school will be out about 3:30 or something. You go to home and you have G.I. Joe, He-Man, Transformers, come on right on the row and everything. It was good. You got like a snack, some peanut butter and crackers or cheese and crackers.
Yep. Good times, man.
Just lay on the floor and watch them. Man, it was good stuff, man. So
I always say that kids today, even though like the technology is getting crazier and the animation is getting crazier, that they're never going to know like the quality of cartoons that we had, because I just feel like ours were just awesome.
And I don't want to sound like an old crabby guy, but the crap today is just not good. I mean, you got games like poop games now or shit games or something. There people are playing little poops and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's fine. If that's what gets you, that's what if that what makes you happy. Hey, I'm happy for you. But come on.
Yeah, I know. We're old. That's the problem because see exactly how we're talking about the kids today is like the guys our age back then were talking about us. It's just a great circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
these kids are going to think kids are stupid 30 years from now too.
Oh, exactly. I just don't, and that's what's problem. The toys. I remember the toy section in like Walmart and stores around here were huge back in the day. Yeah. Now you get one row of stuff maybe, and it's just like everything's gone to video games, which I like video games. It's fine, but I don't know. I just don't know, man. So you do reviews. What got you into doing the reviews, and what kind of what do you like doing about reviews that that gets you really happy?
I've done a couple reviews, like actual toy reviews. I've only done a couple, and one was I was just put in a spot where I had an opportunity to look at something really early. Hung up from 215, hooked me up. He just called me one night and he said he found the Fans Toys Omega Supreme early and asked me if I wanted to look at it. So it's not so much that I really wanted to review it, but I really wanted to see that before everybody else is.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'll come down to Philly and pick it up. So I hit Levy up and he was into the idea. So that was kind of, that might've been the first review that I did. I don't know if I'm into doing reviews.
Yeah, you do different. You're not really reviewing the toy. You're doing like, you just did the Office Space with the Return of the Fallen, Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah, that was fun. That was
nice. That was nice. I mean, you do. I guess you do. I don't know what you would call it. They're not really reviews.
It's I do like a couple. I do a couple of discussion videos. I did a couple like
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Which RC, and then I went like I don't know, like the Bumblebee trailer.
The trailer. Yeah.
More really. Oh shit, my channel needs some content. Like, what should I do? Like, just something, So I really just kind of what I'm feeling that particular day. I'll throw something.
Well, that's cool. And you're almost at 1,000 subs. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Thanks.
That's cool. So let me ask you another one. So I got two. Who is your favorite character in Transformers?
favorite character is tough. That's like kind of asking me what my favorite song is. It's really kind of hard to narrow it down. But if there was one character that I really totally
relate to or something, or?
Related to, yeah, it was probably Jazz.
Okay.
Because he was always
like him.
Yeah, he was just it's probably partially because of the cool voice, because Scatman just threw a cool out there. But he was very human like, and he was into music, you know, and so I just loved driving around with the speakers.
Well, I think that's what made Starscream character really interesting, was the kind of the Cobra Commander kind of raspy voice and everything. And so, and Prime, you know, and Megatron, they're known. I mean, if you hear that voice, you don't have to see them.
Right.
You hear that voice, you know who that's talking. I mean, and a lot of people that don't even know Transformers be like, they know what Optimus Prime sounds like and everything.
I mean, Optimus Prime, of course, was one of my favorites, but it wasn't a character that I definitely identified with. I was more Jazz. Like Optimus Prime, in a weird way, was like our cool uncle growing up.
Yeah, grandfather. I always say he's like a grandfather.
Yeah. Like he didn't have to be my favorite character. He was the man.
Yeah,
so
he was that. Everything. Exactly. So who did Cyclonus turn as a Skywarp or Bombshell?
My heart says Skywarp, because I was a big Skywarp fan, because it was my first Transformer. But if I really watch the movie, it sure as hell looks like it's Bombshell. But
a little bit, but it could have been in the Armada. That's asking if Rumble's red and the whole frenzy, all that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. You can put me on record as saying Skywarp. I'm going with my heart on this one.
Cool. All right. And speaking of music, you're really big into music, and I heard that you're a big Nickelback fan. So I was gonna try to get you I was gonna get you a shirt or something you could wear all the time and snuggle up, you know, with your boo, you know, anytime you want to. So if you could see one band live, dead or alive, and be the last concert you ever see, what band would that be?
The last concert ever, like right before they bury me?
Yeah.
I gotta go Van Halen.
With Hagar or with Roth?
Or
with Extreme, the Extreme Clean, or the guy that sang for Extreme.
Gary, I wonder if anybody would pick Gary. Like, I'm sure.
I hope not.
Like Gary's mom would pick Gary.
Yeah, exactly. And his uncle and brother probably, or something.
It's weird, man. When I was younger, I think I liked Sammy better when I was younger, and then as I got older, I started leaning more towards the Dave era. So if I had to pick one of those singers, and I have to get the band in their prime too. Like it can't be like old ass Van Halen.
Yeah, David Lee Roth right now. Yeah. He's kind of old and loony, but he was loony back then. I think I would. That's a good question. Van Halen, with Roth, he was already, has some good songs, and Hagar really has some good albums. The Fuck album, I like that.
Dude, that's a great album. I always tell people this with music, and you can say this about like AC/DC between Bon Scott and Brian Johnson, or Anthrax between Joey Belladonna and John Bush, or Motley Crue with Vince Neil. And there's a great Motley Crue album that has John Corabi on it. Like I don't try to listen to every album expecting something from a band just because their band's name is Van Halen, or it's Motley Crue, or it's Anthrax. Like I just want to listen to that album, and that album is either going to be good or bad. Yeah. And to me, like Van Halen, using them as an example, like Sammy and Dave, everybody wants to crap on Sammy for the most part, but as a different Van Halen, they were a very good.
They put out some good, OU812 was a good. I mean, Sammy was a good, and even when the solo stuff was good. And I always point, since you're talking about, different band, Poison, one of my favorite. I know you're not very particular with them, but
I'm all right with them. I just like busting chops.
CC DeVille is their guitar, but they had a guitarist called Richie Kotzen for Native Tongue, and Native Tongue is a wonderful album. I know it was kind of grungy because that was time that was when the hair metal was kind of fading, but it's a great album. But when I think of Poison, it's always going to be CC DeVille.
Right. Two things on that. Richie Kotzen has some awesome solo.
Yeah.
He's a really good musician. And then
I watched some YouTube stuff from him. Yeah.
And two, you mentioned that it was their album that they came out during the grunge era. Man, anybody that digs like the hair bands and stuff, I would definitely recommend all those albums that came out from hair bands around 93, 94. Dude, there's a Warrant album called
Dog, dude. Come on, dude. Dude, Poison and Warrant are my two favorite bands of all time, dude. Jane Lane, you know, rest in peace, dude. He was a great singer and a songwriter too. But Dog Eat Dog, man, April 2021, something like 2031. They got some. Oh, that's a wonderful album.
On my wall, that whole album. That album to me is their best album. That album to me is their best album.
I would say top 3. I loved Cherry Pie, which with Uncle Tom's Cabin, you know, and everything, which was supposed to be Uncle Tom's Cabin, but the people made them change it because they wanted a hit, you know, a hipster song, you know, whatever. So that's why they call it Cherry Pie. And I love the other album, you know, Dirty Rotten, Filthy Sick and Rich was a good album too. But anyways, golly, I could go into all the hair bands too.
Yeah,
man. Tyler wants to know, ask you about your Nickelback collection.
Yeah, tell him to close his eyes. He can see the whole thing.
Yeah. So why is it that you don't like Beast Wars? I know you've gone on stages like a couple of times. I think, haven't you?
I think the Beast Wars. If I'm to speak openly and freely about Beast Wars, I don't really hate Beast Wars. I hate Beast Wars at Tyler because it's fun.
Yeah.
And you know, and I can't say that it's my favorite. But I've grown more to appreciate it after it was gone. You know, like I didn't like it when it came out because it was different. It was kind of like, you know, it's weird. I compare it to like the grunge bands. You know, when the Nirvana's in the Alice in Chains.
Oh, I hated those.
I was like, man, this is not my thing. And then 10, 15 years after all those bands came out, I look back on them. I'm like, man, I dig all that shit.
Yeah, I like them. Yeah, Soundgarden. I like Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were considered, and Alice Chain's pretty good. And actually, Alice Chain's toured with Poison actually before on that Native Tongue tour.
All those bands were kind of hair band-ish before they hit it big. Like if you ever seen any of those guys, there's plenty of pictures of Lane Staley out there looking like CeCe DeVille.
I think Nirvana kind of. Well, I don't know if Nirvana did or not. Maybe in their early stuff, but yeah, I hated Nirvana when they come out. That killed the whole stuff I listened to was just. But I can listen to it now and appreciate what they did. You know.
Well, that's exactly how I view Beast Wars. Like Beast Wars, I did not like when it came out, and then in the grand scheme of things, now that I look at the entire run of Transformers from G1 up until now, you know, it was cool. Like Beast Wars was all right, you know.
Yeah, good way to put it. That's an excellent way to put it. Like it was like the Bay movies. I know a lot of people hate them, but I still tip my hat to Michael Bay. He brought Transformers back into the limelight and made it more worldwide, you know, and everything. So you have to give it up a little bit. I know they might be crappy movies and everything, but you know, they
serve their purpose. They serve their purpose.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully we'll move on and we'll learn from. Hopefully they'll learn from their mistakes. And are you looking forward to the B movie? I think you are kind of a little bit.
I was on the fence, and then I was really looking forward to it, and then I was back on the fence again after the whole Starscream Blitzwing thing and seeing whoever the red and the blue Decepticons. I keep forgetting their names.
Dropkick and I forgot the red one.
Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy. It could be Ed. I don't know. It's a female character. So.
I was back on the fence, and then after I saw the whole thing with all the G1 stuff in the trailer, then I was fired up. And Jed actually showed us a letter.
Yeah,
Travis Knight wrote basically to the fans, and that grabbed me by the heart, man. You know, like I read that, and I was like, this dude,
he knows. He knows a little bit.
He's being sincere. Like these words are sincere words that I'm reading right now. Then this gets it. You know, this gets it, and I think that we have a little bit of positivity to look for.
Oh yeah, because he grew up. I mean, he said he grew up, with Transformers, and he knows what it is. And Michael Bay didn't give a rat's ass about Transformers. He even said it at his BotCon speech for when he got inducted to the Hall of Fame, which was really stupid. But he didn't know anything about it. So I'm thinking at least he's trying, and it might lead to the right path, and that's fine. That's good. So.
And I also love that he has a background in animation, which I think is going to come handy with a lot of the scenes.
Exactly. So I got one more question, and then we'll be done. Where do you see Blackout and Shout in 5 years?
Blackout and Shout in 5 years, man. I don't want to be a negative Nancy and say that maybe
we'll break it up next week.
Maybe there won't be. Maybe there won't be in 5 years. Like you think about 5 years down. Think about where this collecting game was 5 years ago compared to where it is now, and we're looking at, at least for a lot of us, we're looking at a lot of voids in the collection being filled up, and if we don't, you know, it might come to a thing where we have to reinvent ourselves because maybe there won't be as much Transformer stuff to talk about, and you know, or we want to move on and do different things or put it to bed. You know, that's a tough question. You know, I always want an excuse to hang out with those dudes. Maybe you know the podcast is that.
That might push it too. You know, that might push y'all to, you know, actually keep on going.
Yeah. That's it definitely probably won't be what it is now. You know, I think 5 years down the line, it's going to be the collecting game in general. I think is going to be vastly different than it is, you know, as we sit here today.
Yeah,
I don't know how, but I think it will be.
Well, yeah, that's why we're trying. You know, with Shirecast, we've been together 5 years. I mean, I think it's been 5 years now. We're over 250 episodes, and we're having to change up because there's not a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
just don't, you know, even when you do the 2 week, you know, y'all do the 2 week, you know, at a time thing. So, you know, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we talk about other stuff, you know, Star Wars, and we talk about Marvel and DC and everything. So we may have to switch it up, you know, and which is kind of sucks. You know, I love Transformers, and that's what I want to talk about most of the time. But I'm willing to, you know, bend over backwards and talk about other stuff.
I think one thing that I like that we do is get out of talking about collecting or nerd stuff altogether. You know, sometimes especially in the Q&A section, it's not always a collector related question. Sometimes it's a life related question, or we go on a tangent sometimes, and sometimes it's very entertaining, and sometimes we go too far. But I think it's cool to get outside the walls sometimes and talk about some other things, because I think, you know, with all of us having all these podcasts out there, it can become very easy to everybody drifts together and kind of all does the same thing. You know what I mean? So find some to look outside the box a little bit, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Jed said Myke can be replaced. Blackout Shot will be around 5 years. And then Josh, I think it's Josh. Yeah, Josh is the SLB vlog.
Yeah.
There's always Storm Collectibles, Mortal Kombat figures, and Marvel Legends. There are. I mean, no telling how many more ninjas I gotta make. So you know.
I got the Fist of the North Star ones. Storm Collectibles is coming out with Fist of the North Star.
Oh, really?
And that's like one of those, like, you ever see like something to collect where, man, who the hell is going to make Fist of the North Star figures? Like I have to have it. You know? Yeah. That was the first anime that I saw that really got me into anime. So that I'll end up probably getting those too. But those, it's not going to be like Transformers is so much stuff coming out, and you find yourself broke in no time. Yeah, you know, I like a series that'll just come out with a figure here and there. So that's something that I could probably.
Well, that's why I'm doing the NECA horror figures and stuff and everything. You know, I got another one today, and they're just fun. You know, they're kind of, you know, cheap. You know, the $30. I got this one is on sale for like 24. So, you know, I got a good deal and everything. So that's why and everything. So, but anyways, dude, I had a wonderful time. And good time. Once again, I always love talking to you, dude. I guess if you want to pimp out your, you know, stuff, be a hoe, you know, and pimp out your stuff where you're at and all that good stuff.
Well, right now, or should I send some links, or should I just throw it out there right now?
You can send me links and I'll add it to the thing, or you can just you can say stuff.
Check out my photography page, which is the Reflector Files. That's on a couple different Facebook, Instagram. DragonStarShop.com is my website, my t-shirt, print, and art website. My band is the McCullen Project. And Angel Down. Angel Down is my cover band. McCullen Project is the one that I do with Tony, and we throw some music on my channel. You can find me at Myke Kingcade on YouTube. And I got other stuff, but those we'll be here forever if I keep going. But those are the big ones.
Yeah, and tell your other half I said hi, and she got lucky.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's tough for me, dude. This is tough for me. I tried to throw her at Eagles Cowboys game. I tried to throw her out at halftime, and she thought I would. She wouldn't leave.
Oh, is she really a big Cowboys fan, or is she just like a casual kind of?
Her ex-husband and her pops were into the Cowboys, which is how she got into them.
Oh.
And I have a feeling that if her kids weren't into it so much, I might be able to pull her to the dark side. But the problem is that this is her link with her kids. Yeah. So, you know, so it is what. But I told her that if we end up staying together like for a long time and we end up like moving in, that she better find a storage unit for that crap, because
that ain't going to my house. I ain't gonna have none of that crap here. That's cool. Yeah. Also, it was good meeting her and all that stuff, and she's awesome. I'm actually friends with her on Facebook, and she posts some really funny stuff.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
So, anyways, once again, thank you. Hey, there's Gator. Hey,
What's up, dog?
Once again, dude, thanks so much for coming on. I really had a great time. You're welcome back anytime you want to. I know you're busy, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to come on my little show and everything.
Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
All right. And thank y'all once again for watching. I appreciate it. Go down and hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And I guess I'll see you on the next review. And as always, Hell Hasbro. And good night, folks.
Take it easy.
All right. Let me stop this real quick. Oh, I stopped.